We will reconvene into open session from closed session, and we have the national anthem performed by the River City Band.
This is good. After closed session, items discussed in closed session, Government Code Section 5957, Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release, Superintendent Gillian, Assistant Superintendent Landsberger, and Legal Counsel in attendance. Information was received. Government Code Section 54962, Expulsion Matter Number 33037, accepted panel's recommendation with a 5 yes and no no's vote. Number 3, Government Code Section 54957, Public Employee Performance Evaluation Superintendent. Information was received. On behalf of the board and everybody in the audience, I want to thank Mr. Marvelli and the high school band to come and do our national anthem today. It was fantastic to see the new band uniforms that we voted for a little over a year ago now. So it's great to see them and see them in action, not so much just see the uniforms, but to see them come and play for us. So thank you so much, Mr. Marvelli, for all your hard work. And of course, all the bandmates, band members, for coming in and giving us that great honor. Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Very nice.
Members of the board, this brings us to celebrations this evening, and we want to recognize our River City High School Marching Band under the direction of Mr. Tony Marvelli. And this, in fact, it does address specifically a strategic priority for our Board of Education to support the visual and performing arts, and we're very proud of this particular group, but also of the many things that are going on at all of our schools. So I'll turn it over now to Mr. Marvelli.
Up. I just have one quick announcement to make. Our wind ensemble last weekend went to Golden Empire Music Festival, and we got a unanimous superior rating from all 3 judges at the festival. I'll pass this around for you to look at later. We're going to leave you with our school fight song.
Wow, I think we need to do that every board meeting. Extremely hard act to follow, but we will try. Wow, that was amazing.
That was so good.
That was so good. I was serious about every board meeting. Okay, so we'll move on to student board member report.
Hello, everyone. At our elementary campuses, Elkhorn will have 8 students competing in Mesa Day Regional at University Pacific on April 19th. They qualified by winning medals at Sac Day on March 29th. Elementary Mesa Day will be April 26th, and Elkhorn Spring Festival is April 30th. At Bridgeway, they are hosting their out-of-the-box food drive from April 7th through the 11th. Their goal is for each student to donate 5 dry or canned good items, and all donations serve the families right here in West Sacramento. Bridgeway is hosting their annual 6th through 8th grade student science fair this Wednesday from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. in their school cafeteria, and the community is all invited. Bridgeway students will view the exhibits all throughout the school day. They are also celebrating their annual spring picnic concert on Friday from 11:30 to 12:30. Bridgeway and Stonegate band students will be performing together at this concert. At our high school campus, okay, let's see. Our last week before spring break has been very busy. A test run Common Core testing session for junior students went on this week starting Monday and ending today. This test run gives our administration a feeling of how things will work for testing next year when Common Core standards are implemented fully in our education system. Cheerleading tryouts took place today starting at 4 p.m. and will end whenever the coaches feel they have picked the right girls and boys for their cheer squad for the upcoming school year. Our 4th and final food day of the school year was today. Students had the opportunity to buy pizza, Taco Bell samosas, McDonald's, and huge Metro burritos for their lunches today. Everybody got really full. Tomorrow, our students will enjoy a short, relaxing minimum day right before they go off to their spring break. We will all return back from our week off on April 21st. Following our spring break is our junior and senior prom on Saturday, April 26th. Our prom has been planned by our amazing junior class this year, and they are very anxious to see how their event planning will turn out. The theme for prom this year is based off of the very classy movie, The Great Gatsby. All students coming to the event are asked to wear their classiest, most formal attire just as if they are going to Gatsby's mansion. On sports news, after we get back from break, softball will be playing at Liberty Ranch Tuesday, April 22nd. Baseball will also be playing at Liberty Ranch on Wednesday, April 23rd. Girls soccer will be playing at Vista Del Lago April 24th, and baseball senior night is Friday, April 25th, starting at 4:15 p.m. Please join us to support some of our players on their last game. And last but most certainly not least, our track team has a meet at Edison High School on Saturday, April 26th. Hopefully they can finish quick enough to be ready in time for prom. I was also in the fashion show last week with Miss Katie Viegas, and that was really a lot of fun. I love that it was about raising awareness for child abuse. Like, the message was so great for it, and I had fun putting green eyebrows on and sparkle in my hair. I really enjoyed that, so thank you for the opportunity for that last week, and that's all.
And you look great.
Oh, thank you.
No, these are art projects.
Okay, that brings us to CSEA report, which I don't see Deborah. So we'll go on to Washington teacher report. Mr. Don Stoffer.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Of course, I'm still in the afterglow of the band being here. I was in the marching band all 4 years of my high school, and I have very fond memories of it. And it's real nice to see our high school band getting up to some real high standards of performance and play. So congratulations to them and to Tony Marvelli, and thank you for helping making that program work so well. So we are at WTA are looking forward to tonight's meeting and looking forward to the final ratification of our agreement for this contract year. Thank you again. So no rest for the weary or no rest for the wicked, I guess, depending on your point of view. But so we've just opened our contract survey for the next year's negotiations. So we hope to run the survey, get it collated, analyzed, and be able to come back to you before the school year ends with our openers for next year so that we can be ready to go as soon as school starts in August. A couple of us met with the district earlier this week to talk about the progress on the LCAP report, and I have to say I'm really impressed with how things are coming and the diligence and effort that the district's putting into this plan. And it's very clear that a lot of progress has been made on the report, and we found that exciting. Would like to have more opportunities for stakeholders to get together and discuss the plan before it all gets finished. And would love to continue participating and have more participation in that. And hope to work with Bill and gang down the road. And that's all I've got right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I was just wondering where the social work positions are. Last I heard it was in with you guys for approval, and that was since October.
Right now, we're trying to schedule a meeting with Pam and sitting down. So we have a couple of things on our agenda besides that, but we're going to be meeting Linda McMahon, the head negotiator, myself, and Pam sitting down and getting all that hashed out.
Good. Thanks.
Hopefully the week after break.
Okay. Get Jerry some help here.
Okay.
Thanks.
Public comment, having none. Move on to board superintendent comments and committee updates. Ms. Villegas.
I have nothing to report except that we did have a fabulous fashion show.
There you go.
It was really good. Adam's kids were in it. Alenia was in it. The leader of the band was in it. She did awesome. She did Good Day Sacramento with us, Sydney Parker, and just really excited about how well attended the event was. We had over 250 people here, and usually I know everybody that buys tickets, and this year I really didn't. So it was quite a success, and thanks to Jessica and a lot of the River City High School students that were in it, kids from Woodland and the Cape Valley. So
And the Sea
thank you.
Monkeys.
And the syncopated sea monkeys were awesome. They did a great job, played all night, very, very professional. So thank you.
Ms. Cruz.
We had a 2x2 meeting with the city, and I just want to thank them for being able to meet with us once a month and exchanging what the district is doing and the city updating us on what they're doing, and it's a great partnership, and I look forward to continue the meetings with them.
Ms. Leland.
All I have is I want to echo the fashion show. It was a lot of fun. Congratulate Katie on a great event. And the students that were in it, boy, they just rocked it. They were so comfortable. They just looked like professionals, and it was a lot of fun. So, and I especially liked seeing President Minky's young men really get in there and do
Slide
it
down the
justice.
banister.
So it was fun, and it was for definitely a good cause, child abuse. So thanks for the opportunity.
And Mrs. Kirby-Gonzalez.
Okay. I don't have any committee updates, but I would like to thank Jerry Smith and Bill Spalding for, we went together to meet with our police chief and fire chief and also our director of Parks and Rec, Bob Johnston, and to talk about opportunities for youth outreach. And it's just really nice to have a police and fire chief who really want to be involved. And so thank you to them too, and thanks for coming to that. I also got to hear Kevin Bracey, who I think we might hear a little bit about later today, and he's a motivational speaker who is speaking at YOLO, and that was really wonderful to get to hear as well. And then we had talked before about it, so I just wanted to revisit the AB 1234, which is the local ethics training, and I did complete it. It's just 2 hours, and so I'd like to encourage everybody on the board to take it as well. And we had talked about if it was applicable to school board members, but as you're taking it, it has a lot of questions that come up for school board. So it definitely is applicable for us, possibly even something we might want to put on a policy that we, as board members, will take it. And one of the big themes that went throughout it is not to guess at our legal issues, and so to consult, and just that we can keep our doors open for our legal, and that was an important theme that resonated. So, thank you.
Excellent. Superintendent Gillen?
Thank you, Mr. Menke. I did want to just kind of follow up on something Mrs. Cruz mentioned. We did have the 2x2 meeting this week, and we were able to talk a little bit more about our public opinion survey and the results from that and the presentation to the board at the last meeting. We also talked about the capital investment program. This is about the third or fourth time we've had that conversation with the city council members present. And the discussion's continuing. I think based on what we heard from the public survey, I'd like to continue that dialogue. So I engaged with government financial strategies, the consultants that have worked with us on our fiscal package, if you will. And we've kind of mapped out a strategy to have a series of community meetings. We'll have meetings on Mondays beginning April 28th, and it'll be 4 consecutive meetings. We're going to be calling on folks to come forward and commit to the 4 weeks as we discuss various things, including facilities, our budget, the funding, certainly in general terms, but also our fiscal picture, if you will, here, and hopefully develop a level of consensus on one matter or another, but bring in a lot of different perspectives and kind of continue the dialogue that I think is an extension of that survey, basically. The idea and objective would be to come back to the board later in June, as you know, and we're having the conversation about whether or not to go for a bond measure in November of 2014, so that the board will have another piece of data, another piece of information that they can consider as we have that conversation. As I've maintained all along, we have a 10-year plan, if you will, with our capital investment program. I think it sets a really good course for us over time. And the bond measure is something that we want to entertain at that point. And I think that it's not a matter of if we do a bond measure, it's really a matter of when. So we need to assess, the timing and make sure that we can be successful with that. So that's what we're gearing up for. So the board has I think a reasoned decision to make in June. So we look forward to that. We're moving that date out to the second meeting now in June for the final decision. Gives the board a couple more weeks, and that's in order to fit these the 4 community meetings in between now and then. So keep you posted on that.
Thank you so much. And I want to tell the public that we're going to have a VAPA discussion later, and we just didn't put a peanut in front of our superintendent. And a hamburger, of all things. We could have put the squirrel there. But we'll be talking about the arts, and different art pieces are in the audience. So we didn't do that on purpose, and by any means. So just funny, the peanut right there. So I know everybody was laughing about it, so I thought I'd bring it up. I also was at the city 2x2 meeting. I think it was the first time the president of the board and the mayor of the city of West Sac was there.
He was there.
He was there, and it was a fruitful conversation. It was a good opportunity to talk about our CIP plan and things that we're doing, and talk about the bond. And we had a lively discussion about where we were going and where wanted to go as not only a school district, but as a city partnership. And that's always a good opportunity for us just to come together and have a meeting of the minds and where we're going together as a complete city. So it was very fruitful, and I appreciated being there and a part of that. So one more thing I'd like to, this is, I know Sarah's big thing, but I think I'll say it, but it's a Tuesday, April 29th. It's the River Cat Teacher Appreciation Day. A staff appreciation. See, she should have just done it. I don't know. She handed it to me, but it's a staff appreciation night at River Cat, so I encourage everybody to buy tickets. And I think you can even call Miss Pam Guyvette to buy tickets, or pick up a form on the way out if you're here in the audience and would love tickets. And I think they can contact the district and look for Pam Guyvette's. Her extension's 1042. Just helping you out. So that's that. And that will bring us to public hearing. I'll open the public hearing for the International Slavic Language School of West Sacramento, and I have one public hearing comment from Larissa Samoilovich. Did I say that right? Oh. Good evening.
I think it works. Yeah, my name is Larissa Samoilovich. I'm here on behalf of Language School, Charter Language School in West Sacramento. And Mr. Nazarenka, he couldn't come, so I'm going to just read his letter. He sent it to me. And I think he said he can answer all the questions next meeting, whatever is going to be there. Dear Superintendent and West Sacramento Unified School District Board members, dear educators and guests, my name is Larissa Samoilovich, and I'm a Russian community member. Would love to thank you for the opportunity to read a short letter written by Russian educators, Dr. Vadim Nazarenka and Dr. Svetlana Owens. Now we're offering our Slavic community unique school model, first in California or even on the West Coast Language School, where our children will be able to learn about their culture, and non-Russian speakers can discover beauty of Russian culture, learning about our language and traditions. Also, we have a good news for Ukrainian-speaking families. We're planning to offer Ukrainian language as a second language of choice. Our hardworking West Sacramento community members from now have possibility not to pay for language tutoring anymore or spend time in Sunday schools instead of have a good time with the family members. Another plus connected with our enrollment campaign, every student enrolled to the school during the first 6 months will receive a laptop, computer, or network. Technology is essential for productive language learning, especially for children from low-income families. Our school program will be based on the proven international baccalaureate curriculum. This curriculum must help our pupils to develop a global vision. As a result, it would be easy for our graduate students to find a new well-paid job on the job market, take good care of the community, and be global citizens and American patriots. International baccalaureate program gives unique opportunity to study overseas, learn more about cultures and life. This program will be recognized by the hundreds of universities in the United States and thousands overseas. We're planning to enroll 160 students for the first year of operation in grades 6, 7, and 8. Ideally, it should be 80 Russian-speaking students and 80 English speakers. We will be a non-sectarian school, but potential students will be recruited from Christian families. We also have a letter of support from the Church Association of Sacramento. Our Christian community members knows about the importance of high-quality education and will help us to easily achieve our enrollment goals. After 4 years of operations, we will be able to accommodate 400 students from grades 6 through 9th. 3 years after IB accreditation school will educate students from 6th to 12th grade. We are willing to create a unique school culture, give our community best possible quality of education. Upon approval, we will seek an accommodation for the new school, and everyone's help can be appreciated. Thanks for the support and enthusiasm. During the next board meeting, I will answer all your questions. Sincerely, Dr. Vadim Nazarenka, the lead petitioner. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, information discussion items. Close it here. Presentation on foster youth services.
We have this evening with us Jessica Larson from the Yolo County office, and also I think presenting with her will be, Christina Buss. Thank you, Christina. Yeah. Turn it over to you. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. I'm a teacher at River City High School, Christina Bess, and Jessica's the real deal with all of this. We have a short slideshow. It is short, I promise, and then a couple other guests. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about what we are doing for foster youth at River City High School and what Jessica does throughout the district and county. We have a group at River City called Foster Youth Incorporated. It was student named, so our little acronym is FYI. A little bit of background. This is a club at UC Davis, and it is a relatively exclusive club. Not anyone can join. Oh, you know that place. Went back into college mode. River City. Sorry about that. For students who are in the foster care system currently, or who were at any point, especially during their teenage years, because that qualifies them for certain types of financial aid that's not available to other students. We also support homeless students and students who qualify as unaccompanied youth. And Jessica's going to read a quick quote about what this program is modeled on.
So it's modeled after a program, modeled after a program in Elk Grove, which is called Courageous Connections, which was basically a teacher who kind of noticed that all these kids who were in foster care kept coming to him, and kids who were in unaccompanied youth, and he decided that they needed a program on school to support those students, because he was kind of just doing it because they kind of gravitate to him. Kind of the same thing that's happened with Miss Bess. So I'll just read the quote then. Shuffled from home to home and school to school, often with no one to turn to for guidance and support. Foster youth can end up feeling isolated, alienated, and without purpose. A simple but effective program at Elk Grove Unified is helping to restore a sense of normalcy and stability to the lives of foster students, allowing them to connect to their school and community.
Surprised her with that one. And so our program aims to do the same thing, although it was based on the model from Elk Grove. So our overall goals, we try to provide extra support for students. Many of them have great support systems in place. A lot of them who are no longer in the system are back with families, which is great. They still sometimes run into issues where they have to deal with paperwork or getting weird legal documents, and doing the FAFSA is always a little different for these guys. So some of our supports include school supplies. We assign each foster student to a mentor teacher on campus who is their go-to person, checks in with them ideally once a week, depending on the teacher's availability, because it's all volunteer. And we have monthly luncheons. We had one today, actually. We have pizza parties, and we check student grades. Today, Jessica did an overview of foster youth rights for them, which they did not know about, which is a little scary. And it's just a place for all of them to come together, where sometimes it's something that has a lot of stigma associated with it, and it's a safe place for all of us to get together. We also do field trips. We've gone to a few colleges in the last few years and done some team building trips as well. We've gotten a lot of donations this year, which we're really appreciative of, for providing yearbooks and senior trip help for our seniors who are graduating and in good standing, and lots of resources for all kinds of academics. I started in 2010. I'm not going to go through all of this, but this is where we're at this year. Jessica was nice enough to let me have one period off, kind of, in fall, where I taught one less class and tried to run this program, which we thought would be great, and ended up realizing how much more work there is to do here. So it was very eye-opening. And we have between 30 to 40 foster or former foster students on campus at any given time. That number changes weekly. We've gotten 3 new kids in the last 2 weeks, probably, who are actively in foster care. And it's kind of the go-to. They come down and get school supplies, and I check in with them and help with scheduling, and it's definitely a need, and I like the program we have so far. Did you want to talk about this one?
I'll just briefly talk about it. There's not a lot of data on students in foster care as far as academic outcomes, but recently WestEd did a study, and basically what they found was that foster youth as a subgroup have poor outcomes with attendance, discipline, grades than any other subgroup, like if you look at students in special education or low income. So basically foster youth are having the worst outcomes of all students of any subgroup. So it was kind of the importance of providing more support services to foster youth in general. It's kind of the summary of what WestEd's study showed.
And the fact that they are different and have different needs than those other subgroups was really big. So next steps that we are here to, we'll have a student come tell you guys a little bit about these ideas, but we've worked with a group called California Youth Connection this year, and students actually drafted a letter from the foster students to the board and the district about what they'd like to see in the LCAP in terms of supporting foster youth and what they need. A few of the things they came up with are having people on campus similar to what we have now, but more supports in place who are dedicated to being a resource for them, who can help them with classes, who can help them collaborate with social workers, caregivers, and teachers, negotiate this whole academic world. So I think I'm going to stop talking, and we have one student here. We also have a couple of foster parents in the audience tonight, which thank you guys very much for coming. It's really a community effort, and that is families and teachers and county and students. So I'd like to introduce James, who's going to tell you guys a little bit about his experience at River City, which he's pretty new here, and then also what he thinks might be important for next year.
Hello. One thing I have noticed going to River City that it is a fast-paced school, and coming from Rio Linda, Rio Linda wasn't as difficult as River City, and I've kind of noticed that school supplies are needed more. I can't slack as much if I want to keep my grades up, and there's just a lot of needs for foster youth that I've become aware of, and we come up with a couple of ideas. Like, I know today in our FYI meeting, we were talking, or our luncheon, we were discussing schedules, and we were going over them, trying to see what our next year classes are going to be. Well, one flaw in mine was that I'm not getting the right amount of credits that I should be getting, and I'm passing classes and I'm still retaking them. And I just feel like that there should be somebody that we should have, more like Jessica, that can come to the campus more often individually for our students, our foster youth students, and kind of be aware and teach us what we're going to be going through next year, and kind of help us through high school. And we've actually come up with a few things that we're in big need of, such as school supplies. We brought up laptops because coming to River City from Rio Linda, I noticed there's a lot more essays and a lot more papers due, and everything's really online now. And so laptops would be great for foster youth as such an example, because I take the bus everywhere, and taking the bus in the morning to school is vigorous. And after school, the hours I'm spending, it's hard to fit into a schedule, especially as a foster youth, because I know I take ILP, so I have to take that after school, and just there's a lot of other things. So that's another thing that would be pretty great. School supplies, just anything that can really help that we've really brought to attention. It'd just be great, and that's really it.
Okay. Well, thank you for identifying some of those things that we could possibly help you with, and redirecting some of those resources to you that could help you in your path to your goal. So I appreciate you to coming up and speaking before us. It's really important, because that's what we need to hear as far as the things that could help you succeed. And I think that's often missed between schools and the board, those things that we could help individuals like yourself just achieve what you want, your dreams, and the things you want to achieve in school. So thank you. And I'll open up to the board. Ms. Leland?
Well, I just want to say how much I appreciate, especially the foster youth parents that are here with us tonight. I know some of you, and it's really good to see you again, and thank you for what you do. And for staff, the teachers for this program, it's wonderful. I know it's needed. We have the same needs on our community college campuses with homeless youth. I think we have about 150 homeless students at Sac City College and foster youth. So I want to encourage you, though, if you decide to come to Sac City College for a 2-year experience, we do have a lot of services for foster youth. And just this past week, I had a donation of $12,000 just for 2 foster youth students at Sac City. So we have a lot of opportunities, and so when you get to us at the City College, if you decide to come there, certainly have resources. But we want to support you too with the school supplies, and I think the board can do a lot of that work. And I know I'm involved with a church that does school supplies out in the south area. So, you know, we can get the word out if we know exactly what it is. And I wonder, do you work with computers for kids? Louis Bear, has he been able to help you with laptops? Okay, because he's at City College and he's working with me too on getting laptops to students. So just sharing your story really helps us, you know, try to be more diligent on getting some of the resources that you need for every day. So appreciate you telling us about them.
Ms. Villegas.
Woohoo, you're finally here. So excited to have you guys here, and you did a good job, so thanks for letting us know. I think you also need help with senior prom tickets and senior prom tickets and yearbooks and all the other stuff that goes along with normal high school kids. It's hard and it's expensive, so we want you to have all that stuff as well. I know I posted it on my Facebook, and I owe you guys a check, but I will do that. Can you remind us of who we need to send the check to? Do we make it out to?
Can you say that on the microphone?
Yeah.
I did bring a flyer and I had it on the PowerPoint, but our Sponsor a Senior program, you can make checks out to Foster Youth Incorporated and send them to River City with attention to Christina Bus, and they get donated in there. We've had a really, really good.
It was my Facebook post, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, we have a wide network. We've had a great turnout from that. So
me and my 1,000 friends. No, and I'm so excited to have you guys here. So, Jessica, can you clarify? Christina, you're no longer in this position, right? You're volunteering your time, correct?
Yes. So the first half of the year, I bought out one period for her. So, and then we were hoping we could maybe do that the second half of the year, and it didn't work out. So she's just doing this on top of everything else that she does at River City High School. So we would love to be able to have like one person who could actually do this full time and not also be teaching on top of that, because it does take a lot of time. I mean, these kids find her everywhere she is on campus. She can't hide. Like, they'll come to her and say, I need help with my FAFSA. I need help with this. I need help, you know, so it's, and I can't be there every day either. So there's a lot of needs, especially with seniors and trying to get them into community college, or if we've got several students going on to four-year colleges next year. So, but it's a lot of work to make sure that they're meeting all those deadlines and doing everything that they need to be doing. So.
Essays and whatnot. And I did talk to Joan Planell, the head of the Department of Social Services for Yolo County, and I said, so what's the deal? How many foster kids are in West Sacramento and at River City? I said, I would love to know that number. And she said, well, we not only have our Yolo County kids, Sacramento is placing a lot of kids in at River City because we have such great foster parents, and there's a good system here. So I really hope that we can get that number and a clear number so we can get the funding to have a full-time position to deal with foster and homeless youth.
Yeah, and there's a match now that's happening with CalPADS and the State Department of Social Services. So there's actually aggregate data that says how many foster youth are in your district now. And by fall, it's supposed to actually identify who the students are. So it's a match from social services at the state level. So soon, people will have a better idea who the students are, so we can serve them better.
Good. Yeah. And I think this is in addition to our social workers, because the social workers are for all the other kids. This is a full-time job, at least at River City. And there's not only River City that has foster kids, all the schools, I would imagine, have foster kids.
I was just at Yolo High today, and the principal was asking for help because he's got about 10 right now. So
it's a lot. It really fluctuates. Now, do these kids get into the independent living program after they go?
They can start participating in that when they're 15 and a half, right? Usually 15 and a half. So they take classes a couple times a month, independent living skills classes after school.
Good. And do they still have the Yolo County still pay for they paid for 6 to 8 kids to go in their first year of college? Do they do that still?
No.
No.
No. I mean, they can stay in foster care now through 21, so they get extra support, which is great. So when they go on to college, they still have a social worker working with them, and they get a little bit of money to help them in that transition.
You remember the kids that had apartments in Davis? They were set up on UC Davis campus. Do they still have that?
Well, there's still a program in Davis, but yeah, they're using that now more for kids like after age 21 because they can stay in AB 12 till they're 21. So, yeah. Okay.
Foster kids it's hard. It's rough. I was just at the FBI training last night, and we had a presentation on kids, human trafficking, basically, and I think 90 to 100% of the girls were in foster care.
It's actually increasing right now. I know it's a big deal for Yolo County Social Services, is to kind of keep an eye on that. It's actually like an increasing problem in Yolo County specifically.
Yeah, we want to stop that. and get these kids the support that they need. So I would encourage everybody to donate, and for our board to find a position that we can fund in the district to deal with foster kids and homeless kids. Thanks. Thanks, Jessica.
Ms. Kirby Gonzalez.
Thank you for being here and bringing the awareness to us and for the discussion. I've had many students who are in foster care, and in Sac County, they often have a really hard time finding families who are going to step up and who are doing a quality job. So it was just really nice to hear that YOLO has a wealth of great people who, I don't know about a wealth, but it has great people who are stepping forward. I'm sure you could use some more. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for speaking to us as well. And I just really appreciate it, and it will absolutely be on the forefront of my radar, I think, for us. So thank you.
Ms. Cruz.
I too would like to thank all the foster parents for stepping up and helping our youth and our community. And I want to apologize, young man, I didn't get your name. Was it James? See, I was way off. Can you come up to the podium for me for a moment? I know it's really hard to come and address and ask, and I'm really impressed. I know River City is a scary place and a faster place, and I myself want to assure you, when you come back from spring break, I am going to donate a laptop just for you coming and welcome you to West Sacramento.
That's great.
Okay, so when you come back, you will have a laptop, okay? And I want to thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot.
I too want to thank everybody that comes and helps and donates their time and works really hard for this great cause. I mean, it's important to support the foster youth in our schools and make sure that they're successful, not only in our schools, but when later in life when they get to either Sac City or I'm pulling for Davis. But on your academic career, it's really important. The other things that this fostered, for lack of a better way of saying it, is some more conversations just about our foster youth, not only when you are in our schools, but how they actually get into our schools. And I talked with Superintendent Gilland about streamlining some of our processes to get students actually enrolled into our schools. And I think it will have to come in the form of some kind of training for our staff to understand what's necessary, what's needed, because the last thing that some students need is that resistance of enrolling them. They don't need that. They need that acceptance. It's like this is where they belong, and this is where they're welcome to be and safe, and to get a good education. So we need to streamline that process to really make sure that we get them right into school with the information they need, really up front. So I'll work with the board and staff to help facilitate some of that in the form of training, in the form of whatever is necessary. I mean, I think really just identifying what's needed when a student shows up to our schools is important to get them right into the schools and feeling safe and welcome. So I hope this board will continue this effort, not only monetarily, because I too will show up and we'll start getting some resources for that group of kids that just needs it. But it's as well as some training for some staff that will help benefit kids getting in and feeling more safe and welcome. So. Okay, so again, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for all your time. I think we will work hard, because I know Ms. Villegas will call me on a weekly basis to make sure that we push and get that stipend or that release time for you to really support some of these children. I know that's important as well. So thank you. And that takes us on to number 2, bullying prevention training.
Members of the board, we have a couple of presentations this evening with Mr. Jerry Smith, our Director of Student Services and Family Support. He works also with our foster youth. I want to thank too Christina and Jessica for being here this evening. We did have that conversation, Mr. Menke, and I responded to Mr. Menke and indicated that really it's a customer service issue in terms of how people are received at our sites. And it really transcends our entire district. It goes beyond, you know, just our foster youth. It's an issue we really need to work on, and we're dedicated to doing that. That's part of our customer service survey that's going to be coming back to the board, and we'll continue to monitor that. So thank you for your efforts this evening and what you do for our kids. Jerry's here to talk about a couple of items that are specific to supporting a healthy, safe, and secure environment. Another one of our strategic priorities this evening. He's going to start it off with a discussion about bullying prevention trainings. Jerry?
Yeah, it's going to be my pleasure to talk to you about some of the things we've been doing the last month or so for anti-bullying so we can get started. But before I get started, I want to say what a great experience it's been working with Jessica and Christina out of my office and Ed Services as a whole. I was lucky enough, actually, I had met Jessica years ago, and so we knew each other coming in, and it's been a real nice situation where we can be on our way to work and she can text me and I know that something's coming up for a foster kid, and by the time we get into the office, we can always start working on things, and it's a real nice experience working with her, Jessica. It's a pleasure. And also on top of that, just so you know, Mr. Spalding and I have had meetings with them already and have some plans and some ideas about how we might be able to service the foster youth throughout the district, and we'll be bringing those to you as part of the LCAP thing, I think. Okay. My presentation tonight, I'm going to try to keep it a little short for you. We have the information concerning the anti-bullying program that we finally were able to get started. As you know, in October, you dedicated over $60,000, I believe $63,000 of restoration funds to start the process to really get our anti-bullying training process going. With the transition in my position, it took a while to get things going, but we are on a roll now. So this spring, we've been really concentrating on the process of getting the full anti-bullying thing going. My predecessor, Mrs. Gillen, had lined up the Olveus training program, or the anti-bullying program, that is really specific. It's a curriculum-based program that the students receive from their teachers, and we thought that it's a great program. It's got really good reputation. And if you look at your slide, we decided the K-8s, that was the right way to go. We felt like this is the program that will be real useful. It's curriculum-based. The teachers can give the information to the students, and at the same time, they'll be able to receive it. Our experiences at the high school level showed us that this program might not work as efficiently for us, that we felt that we needed a program that was student-based, meaning that the students would run the program. Our experiences with high school students, a lot of times they don't take curriculum in at that level and say, okay, this is really something for me. We needed something that the students could grab onto and they could run with and they could take the lead on. Because in reality, at all levels, but specifically at the high school level, bullying's not going to stop with the teachers. It's not going to stop with the administrators. Their support's great, but the students are going to be the one that stop that from happening at the high school level. They're the ones that are going to take control of that campus. So on the other side of the slide, you'll see that we were able to secure a gentleman by the name of Kevin Bracey, who is I've been lucky enough to work with a few times over my career. Extraordinary high school student motivator, and he by chance had just started to line up with folks from San Juan and bringing in a program called the Reach One Alliance. The Reach One Alliance, is in a few seconds when I expand on it, has been just accepted unbelievably well at the high school. So we'll start with the K-8 program. Out of the $63,000 that you dedicated to this, we have now spent $22,000 in training materials and materials that can, the curriculum materials for the K-8 programs. Each one of the sites has a full set that at least at this point in time, each grade level has one shared set. So if there are 3 first grades at, say, Westfield, then those 3 teachers will share that material. The material is pretty expensive, but we felt it was well worth making sure that everybody had it at each site at each grade level to start off with. Also, the people that went through the Olveus training, each one of them got a full set as well. So each one of the campuses has a touch more than just the one grade set per level, depending on which teachers were trained. We will be purchasing more sets next year in 14-15. Because it's my understanding that the Restoration Fund is we're really dedicated to continuing with this program, and we'll continue ultimately to try to make sure every single classroom in the district has this curriculum and the teachers are fully trained so they can administer the program. On the 17th and 18th of March, as well as the 20th and 21st, we had our training for Olveus in district. We actually did it at the district office. Our 2 Olveus trainers, Gina Record and Javon Torres, are wonderful young people. They actually work for San Juan Unified, but they took the week off so that they could do the Olveus training for us. They're certified trainers. They were very well accepted and received and did a wonderful job of training our teams. On the 17th and 18th, Westmore Oaks, Elkhorn Village, and Riverbank went to the training, and then on the 20th and 21st, first the team from Southport, Stonegate, Bridgeway Island, and Westfield went. Each one of those teams were made up of 6 to 7 team members. At least 3 of them were certificated folks, the assistant principal from each school, and then classified folks, specifically the yard duty folks that see a lot of the kids that would be in the situation where they might have some bullying going on. All the sites now will be going through 6 hours of training throughout the fall, so that way we can get everybody on each one of the sites trained. When the teams left, they were trainers. They were trained to be trainers, so they should be able to do the training at their own sites now, and we'll be trying to make sure that we can get that in during the fall so we can have everybody fully trained when we get halfway through the year next year. We also had the students at each one of the schools, 3rd through 8th grade, take a survey, and the survey basically was to find out how they felt about their school, how safe they felt, hot spots on the campus where some issues were brewing. We were able to get those survey results back last week. The administration is starting to look those over and see how they can develop plans on their campus that'll meet their individual needs. And then we'll reissue the survey in late fall of 2014, see if we've made some improvements as we start heading in that direction. That's kind of part of the plan with the Olveus program. That's how they do business. At the high school, we started the Reach One Alliance with Kevin Bracey. I had said before, the basic concept of this program is that they teach each one of the students on that campus that decide to join the Alliance, that every single day they go to that campus, they find somebody on that campus they have had no connection with before. And that's pretty easy to do with a school of 2,000 students. And they go out and reach them. It doesn't necessarily mean they have to become buddies. They give them a fist, they give them the ones, which is a big signal for each one. Stop by and say, hey, how you doing? And it's had a real great it's been a great movement on the campus so far. It's been a lot of fun to watch. I know Katie has really enjoyed the whole experience, and I think it's really starting to grow. So Kevin came to the campus on the 5th and the 6th. We had him talk to the 9th graders, the 10th graders, and the 11th graders. And not to leave the seniors out, but their experience is ending at high school. And we really wanted to build the program this spring so it would be ready to go in the fall. And these are the kids that are returning. Kevin has volunteered to actually do a motivational talk to the senior class before they leave if they choose to accept him as their speaker. And so that way they have an opportunity to touch base with them as well. But his training started with just an introduction to what bullying is, what the Reach One Alliance was, and how he wanted kids to get involved. If you've ever seen Kevin speak, and I know Mr. Menke was able to see him that day at River City, and Mrs. Kirby Gonzalez has been able to see him over at Yolo, he is just has an extraordinary hold on high school students. And to take 500 high school students in a cafeteria there in the middle of the day and be able to just look at them and they just stone quiet on you, and when he starts to work, it's been extraordinary to watch. Great reaction from the student body. We were hoping at the high school to get 80 to 100 kids to sign up for the Alliance. Over 415 students signed up. Each one of those students has now been trained individually by Kevin and in small groups, but each one of them has the training now, and starting the week after we get back from spring break, he'll come once a week at lunchtime to do Reach One huddles, and each one of those weeks, the Alliance team will determine what they're going to do the following week is what's going to be their way to reach out on the campus to make things happen. And the concept is very simple, but really it does work, that if you take care of each other, a lot of that bullying stops. Kevin's basic theory is that really the bullies aren't the issue, it's the people that are bystanders and watching what's going on. And we're going to stop the bystanders from watching what's going on. They're going to step in if issues are happening. That's ultimately the plan. The Alliance training for all those students took place on the 13th and 14th, and then the 2nd and 4th we had to add 2 extra days. I think you saw that last board meeting when we needed some extra finances to bring Kevin in, but it was well worth it. And then, as Mrs. Kirby Gonzalez said, we were lucky enough to have Kevin come over 2 days ago to YOLO, and it did a great talk with the students. It wasn't so anti-bullying emphasis. Mr. Moisich had asked for something that was just real motivational for his kids, and I thought Kevin did a really wonderful job about talking to the kids about finding their greatness and a system and a secret that he thinks works to find your dreams and make them happen. So we'll continue the work in the fall. As you can tell, I'm pretty excited about this. I think we're going in the right direction. I think it's a real positive thing. It's just another one of those things that this district is impressing me. As the longer I'm here, the more things they do for kids. So really excited about it. Before I go on to the other piece, any questions?
Any questions about the board?
I think it's just great.
Yeah.
Just love the work. Love hearing about
it. He's fun to be around. I'll tell you, he makes it exciting.
I'd love to go. So hopefully, if he comes back, or I'd love to be able to go.
Well, he definitely ain't know in the fall. Katie has made some plans, and we're hoping as long as we get the restoration funds lined up to bring him back early before school starts, so we can kind of get the ball rolling a little bit early. And I know that there'll be some retraining for those kids that are in the Alliance. So we'll invite you. Come on over and get trained.
I'd love to. I've
Right.
heard from kids, they loved the presentation and they were really excited. So
Right.
thanks for doing that and thanks
Well.
for going the extra mile to get him.
Thanks, I appreciate that. The other piece is just a hard copy. It's not up on the screen. The suspension statistics from the fall of last year versus the fall of this year. As you can go through, they're broken down individually by site. I think the good news is that we're down over 100 suspensions in the fall this year versus last year. A couple of the sites are up a little bit, and one of the schools I want to have you take a look at is Elkhorn. The numbers look specifically like they rose quite a bit. I think we had a input situation that didn't go well as far as inputting information last fall. Mrs. Smith and I are still working on it. I do think that there were more suspensions in the fall of 2012 than the 15 are sitting there. And I know our numbers are right for this fall. So the difference might not be quite as great, which is good news for Elkhorn. For the district, it means that maybe our numbers aren't quite over 100. Maybe they're a little bit less. But on the whole, the numbers are definitely going in the right direction. And once again, I think a lot of it's due to the intervention programs that you folks have put in place. Any other questions?
Listen, anybody have any comments?
I have a comment.
Sarah, Alicia Cruz?
Well, I want to thank you for instituting this program. I'm glad we were able to approve money and get this ball rolling. I've been pushing about bullying on just the websites and getting it out there so parents can have the information as well as the kids. And it sounds like a great program. I, too, when it comes back in the fall, would like to come to one of the
Great.
the trainings. And I'm excited because to me, awareness is one of the first steps. And I think that was something we were lacking. But you're bringing it, so I'm glad that it's here.
Thank you very much for the money you put towards that. And then I know you've committed money down the road towards this. It's a big thing. And when I talk to my counterparts in other districts, they're pretty envious that the district's making this much of a commitment to it. It's a big thing. Thank you.
Ruby Gonzalez?
I have something too, so don't go away yet. Thank you for stepping out and for making the decision for the high school that they needed something different. It sounds great. It sounds like a great fit. And Kevin resonated with me. I went home, I talked to my husband about it, and his message just sits with you. And so I have a couple questions. One, when he offered to talk to the seniors, was that at graduation?
No, I don't think it's going to be at graduation. I think every year, from my understanding, once again, I'm new, but I think that they have someone come in and talk to the seniors before they leave. They've had that over the last couple of years. That's my understanding. And
Okay.
Kevin's put it out there as a volunteer. I don't know if he's going to be the one that's kind of the class's decision. I know that Katie knows about it, and she'll make the call between them and the kids. But I don't believe it's at graduation.
Okay. And then the curriculum, that one question I have is, and I love the teachers are the trainers, and I think that's wonderful. It just everything sounds great. So my only question would be with the curriculum, is it for our elementary schools, is it a year-long program? Is it a unit? Is it something that you talked about getting every room to have the curriculum?
Correct.
And I've just seen curriculum sometimes with dust. So do we
Right.
know that there's a need, or is the trading and sharing of curriculum working now?
We don't know yet because we just the training done.
Okay.
But I do know that it's a year-long program. And basically it's a commitment of about 15 to 20 minutes per week out of the class for the training to go on in each one of the classrooms. That's the commitment that you need to make to be able to just constantly infuse that thought into the students' heads. And of course, that's going to be real tough to do with all the new stuff we're bringing in with Common Core. There's a lot of stuff. But I think the teachers that went to the training felt like, I can find 15 minutes a week to really get this information back across to those kids so we can get it on.
Good, absolutely.
Okay.
So my only thing would be to hold off on purchasing the curriculum, maybe to see if the sharing works or not.
I like it, yeah.
Okay.
So we can put the money in a couple other places. Keep Kevin coming back over and over. So, thank you.
I appreciate all the. I was also at the training, and it was fantastic to listen to him. The biggest thing I want to say, because you said it a number of times, and I think Alicia is a big proponent of getting the message out about bullying and the awareness of that. But I think that it must be said that there's an entire board behind this movement, and it has to be a top-down movement. It can't be just isolated areas where we discuss it. So I look forward as a board member just to be up here and hearing all these presentations about bullying and what we're doing and how much we can do and that we can do more. And I hope that this board can rally around the fact that we can carve out more and more money to get the awareness out there, so there's not isolated kids out there that think they're alone and not welcomed in our school. So
Absolutely.
I just want to
echo that sentiment. That I think we're all behind that movement.
Wonderful.
And
That's great to
I'm
hear.
glad that you are in charge
Thanks.
and you're moving on it,
Thanks.
and the schools are behind it too. So
Thank you very much. I
thank you so
appreciate it.
much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Motivational speak too, at one of our meetings here.
I'm sure that Kevin will come and talk. He's not afraid to do that, that's for sure.
Okay. That brings us to our VAPA plan implementation, year 2 of 3-year plan for 2014-15. This is our expand and implement visual and performing arts priority. So welcome.
Good evening, President Menke and members of the board and Dr. Gilliland. Just wanted to bring you some updates on our visual and performing arts plan. When we were here last time talking about this, which I believe was in October, there was a brand new plan that had come out, and it really had talked about putting a VAPA teacher at each site. But creative minds have taken another look at that and have come up with what I think is a far better plan using the same personnel, but one that would give an entire VAPA experience to all our sites. I think you'll recall that we talked about we'd have some music teachers, we'd have some VAPA teachers, and you'd kind of get the luck of the draw, you know, who that person would be at the site. But they've been working long and hard, the Visual and Performing Arts Committee, to look at how we might bring a really enriching program. So that's what they will be bringing to you tonight. I will turn it over to Lynette.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity to bring you up to date, because a lot has happened, and I was trying to count the number of meetings. I know it was 5 meetings just in the last 2 weeks, and probably 12 since you last visited this. I'd like to take a moment to point out that we do have some of our visual and performing arts teachers here. We happen to have the 3 that have been the most stalwart and hanging in there as we have worked on this committee. So we have Dolores Henson, who is a K-8 music teacher. We have Brendan Liston, who is an art teacher at the high school. And we have Tony Marvelli. You just saw some of his work earlier. And did I get, there's no other lurking VAPA teachers. So this is visual and performing arts. If you don't mind, I will say VAPA, because it shortens the presentation quite a bit. And but bear in mind, VAPA has 4 letters, VAPA has 4 strands, and so VAPA is never just one subject. It's always all 4 subjects whenever you say the word. And I would like to make a link to what we just saw with the band here. If you're looking to cultivate leadership and collaboration in young people, all you had to do was look at what we saw here that kicked off this meeting. The drum major was leadership personified, and the collaboration, the clearly defined goals that everybody was trying to achieve by modifying their own behavior and activities and the skills they brought to it to give that exquisite and beyond measure sort of outcome that you can't even quite find the words for it. So anyway, I don't need to convince you about VAPA. You've already been convinced and you've already made it a priority. So we'll get on with where we are today. We'll take a walk across these 3 columns of where we were, and you'll see that as far as adding personnel and the amount of money attributed towards personnel, there's really no change. The left-hand column is what you saw in the fall, September, October. The middle column is the minimum that we are asking for today. It's identical, but you'll find out that what's in those numbers is slightly different. The right-hand column would be give us a bit of wiggle room to expand a little almost immediately rather than waiting to 2015-16 to start expanding. We might consider that if we just move that one person forward by a year. Same amount of money, though, and same outcome over the course of 3 years. So here's a little pictorial representation of what Bill was describing earlier. There are 7 K5 to K8 sites. All of them have music. Some might also have art. But you'll notice only those 2 strands of VAPA are available, and geography really could dictate what you had access to. It was important to our committee to address these 3 questions when coming up with the recommendation. And that was, is there equity of access to VAPA instruction for absolutely every student at every site? If they fall no matter where they fall within our implementation. You'll see we start with grades 4 and 5. But that means every 4th grader, every 5th grader has equal access to all the VAPA strands. That was important to us. Then was it full spectrum VAPA instruction? Is it dance and music and theater and visual arts? Instead of or, is it and? And then are we building on the strengths we already have? Because that's a better place to start than scrapping everything and starting over, because we have some very good things already going on. So here's what we were led to. This is VAPA, all 4 strands at every single school. All 7 sites have all 4 strands of instruction regularly. And I'm going to break that down into how that looks. But I'd like to say right now, this little icon that we're going to explore is thanks to Brendan Liston. I said, Brendan, we need a wheel, because we're calling it a wheel. And this is what he came with, and it's a lovely graphic. Here's what a day would look like, or a session, I should say. A session would look like with VAPA instruction. We'll take 4th grade, because the release time for 4th grade and 5th grade teachers that's provided for them in their contract, their 120 minutes, has traditionally been provided half of it by our music teachers. The other half is usually PE. And so we've taken that entry point and we've refined it. And this is what we have. All 3, usually there are about 3 4th grades, for instance, would empty out. You have 3 empty classrooms, and those teachers have their 60 minutes of their release time. Those approximately 120 students are now divided among 4 VAPA teachers. And each one will get an hour of instruction in whatever strand of VAPA is theirs for that tour of duty. So 25% will learn dance, 25% music, 25% theater, 25% visual arts. And then after that hour, they go back to their classes, and the 5th grade all tumbles out, and the same thing happens for them. And that's that for that site, for that day. And then the VAPA team, the wheel, rolls on to another site and does the same thing in the afternoon somewhere else. If we follow the trek of a student, let's say Mr. 4th grade, he'll go to 7 weeks of music. At the end of 7 weeks, he will cycle into art, while whoever was in theater is going to cycle into music, and so on. You see how they work their way around every 7 weeks. At the end, there's 8 weeks that we hope to make it provide some choice in there, that the kids who had a passion about one of those 4 areas could work particularly in that area. But we bring it together for a showcase that combines all 4 into one presentation of some kind to be determined. And then that wraps up that year. On a weekly basis, it looks like this. We have found that because Mondays frequently disappear because of holidays, it's really not a good day to plan to have release time for teachers because they don't always get it. So we've created a model where those days can be given to K-3 instruction or some other kind of expanded program on a rotating basis. But you'll see on a Tuesday, School A, the whole 4th grade gets an hour. A little while later, the whole 5th grade gets an hour. Then the team travels to School B, and that happens again. And then they do School C. And we've left the minimum days that happen on Wednesday out because, again, it's an equity issue for the teachers. And you'll see how all 7 sites have 60 minutes of all 4 strands for all their 4th and 5th graders, and some extended programs into K-3 or possibly the 6-8 arena. So that leaves, what about the existing music teachers who are there? Well, this now makes them full 0.5 FTE partners on the 6-8 master schedule. And this is where we're hoping for the support of our principals in developing a master schedule that would have 2 periods every day of leveled instruction in band, because leveled instruction is key to moving towards supporting the high school programs. What you saw here today is the result of having 4 years or a few years to work with kids, and we're hoping to extend that to 9 years. Can you imagine what that would be like at the end of 9 years instead of 4? And then we want to monitor how this works, because then we want to move this model into visual arts and dance and theater and that kind of thing, so that all 4 strands are moving up. And that brings us back, just recapturing equity of access and full spectrum VAPA and how it works. So if you have any questions, we have 4 of us right here.
Okay. Any comments, Ms. Villegas?
I am so excited. I got a little preview at the Pheasant Club with these 2 over here, but I think this is a great idea. I really love the equity, and I really love the kids getting a choice, and I just am so excited for this program. I think it's great.
Thank you.
Love 9 years of VAPA.
Ms. Leland?
I'm just very impressed with the model, and that you can be comprehensive and exposing them to all 4 areas, and maximizing staff that have expertise in those areas. I think it's brilliant, and I'm very excited.
Thank you.
Wow.
Ms. Cruz?
Thank you so much for your time and effort to get this program up and going. I'm excited about it. I think Dawn might take 4th and 5th grade all over again so he can come back into band. But I'm excited to see the outcome of this, and I'm excited to see some of the showcases. So thank you so much.
Ms. Cruz, or Kirby Gonzalez?
I haven't ever seen an offering like this where students are getting such a well-rounded offerings, and then to hear a choice at the end. I mean, it just seems really perfect. So I'm very excited about it. And the only thing that I would say is for our K-3 teachers, don't want to put any more on anyone's plate, but I just hope that we can also, we would love to have this at all grade levels, and just that we keep it on our radar, and that Sacramento County Office of Education, who I know we've worked with in other things with MOUs, they offer a class that's Common Core through the arts. And so maybe down the road, when people don't have as much on their plate, that might be something for our general education teachers in K-3 to think about, so they can have some incorporated too.
I'm more than comfortable adding to your plate because I like to put that challenge out there.
Yeah.
I'll first start off with I love the plan. I see the little figures of kids dancing, and that's my little Lexi out there dancing. She loves it. I wish you would implement something for cleaning a room, but we'll do that another day. But because it's a way for them to express themselves in a way that just helps them enjoy school and learn. I think my daughter kind of learned how to tell stories by drawing them out and then writing letters, and then so it was just a free flow of thought through her that she kind of enjoyed and kind of expanded on. So for me, that's the real passion of VAPAs in the schools, and it comes from conversations I've had when we were looking for, where are we going to put her for kindergarten, preschool, and that was a lot of the parents saying that that's very lacking in our district. And something that we wanted to expand, and I think everybody kind of jumped on board and we wanted to expand. I think we carved out a pretty big block, which brings me to the pushing for more. We do want to expand. I think if we can get behind something that, implementing K-3, and I know you said you're going to do a little bit with that release time on Mondays and doing different things with K-3, which would love to see. But I want to see what that plan would look like 4 or 5 years, and what we can do to help as funding coming through, that we can carve out more money and see it going through K-6, and then even help out some of the 6-8 through their master scheduling and adding FTE there and different things for band. Because I know Mr. Marvelli is someone we cannot clone. I would, and put him at all the K-8 schools. But I think he'll see the fruits of that, those band classes and different things at all of our schools, which is, I think, largely important. But I would like the VAPA committee to continue the work of what's the next step. I know you're going to work really hard on where you're going right now and what we're doing, but I do want to see that next step and how we can grow this thing and and make this a wonderful environment for kids to go and learn and express themselves, and maybe help them with writing and reading and all the other things in school. So thank you for all your work, everybody that's in the everybody in the audience that's here from the VAPA team. I know there's a lot of you, so thank you for all your hard work, and thank you for bringing us a plan, and then talking about it, and then realizing, you know, maybe we need to do this a different way, and then coming back with another plan. That's what the development of these kind of programs is. For me, that's what we were looking for, you know, and seeing how it grows and it being very, very unique and open, and just let's make something better happen. So I appreciate that.
Thank you for supporting that process, because we could see it was quite a change,
Right.
but it's terrific to have your support to go through that.
Excellent, thank you.
I have one more thing.
Ms. Reed?
I forgot to mention, not only are we passionate about music, but I'm in a committee, BB Can, Brighton Broderick Community Action Network, and for the third year in a row as a committee of our community, we are partnering with the city, and we have a summer music camp, once again, that is growing and growing. And I know we're talking with the district to also help with our nonprofit organization to keep music continuing at the schools, and trying to even offer financial support, as well as people in our community do have a music background. But so not only is it important to us, but there are people in our community that show how important music is still to our. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, on to action items. Number 1, AB 1200, disclosure of CSEA salary enhancement. This is an action item, so if you have any questions or comments, if not, I would. Sorry.
It was kind of funny, though.
No, the peanut was the highlight of my day.
Can we hear what grades did the?
Do you mind coming back to the podium and kind of showing some of those pieces? That's like Jenga.
Yeah, but harder.
Thank you very much for having us here tonight.
Put them right on top, but I think they'll put them on the camera. Oh, there you go.
Look at that hamburger. That looks too.
There's our
too good to
superintendent.
Eating again at the foot now.
So these are mixed class. I have 9 through 12 in all my classes. So I do 3D design as well as ceramics. The 3D design project, this is one here. It's I always have kids that are at different pacings. So I have to have something for them to do when they're done. Mr. Liston, what am I going to do next? So I have this project. It's sort of like I don't really do extra credit, so that's an extra credit project, and it's a combination of packaging design. So they start with a cube that's done from a template, and then they build off from that. So some kids love it, and it's a long-term project, so they can work as little or as much as they want on it. The ceramics projects are just various ones. We did. I received a grant from the Yolo Friends of the Arts. And so they asked us to do their duck days. So we did duck decoys. So that was this project. We did Dia de los Muertos. So we did a bunch of projects for that. Kids love food. So this is a real popular one. And all these projects are great because they teach the ceramic process. And part of our VAPA plan is to create a continuum, so that students are at least exposed to these things. So by the time they get to me, they've had a little bit of experience. And so, because I have to get them going from beginners to, 0 to 60 really quickly. This is a peanut project, enlarged peanut. So just various things. And so it's, like I said, it's a very developmentally mixed group of kids. And I like to see them grow through the semester. And it's going to be exciting to see when we can get something in place and I start to get kids that want to take classes all 4 years. So instead of just trying it out when they're a senior, I try to get the freshmen, okay, you're going to take my class next year, and then the sophomores, okay, you're going to be my TA next year, and so I try to keep them involved, the same way that Tony tries to get his fingers into them as well. So you can't have them all, but he can. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I just want to make a comment. I took ceramics in high school, and none of my art projects were anywhere near that. Those kids are fabulous. I've taken a tour through your classroom, and they are just so incredible.
Yes.
I think we should really have an art show.
Yeah, we're working on that as well. We've been doing things out and about, so partnering with different people like the Yolo County Friends of the Arts, and so we're looking for more opportunities to do that, and it's been great. So we're going. We're onwards and upwards.
And I hope our kids, River City kids, enter into the Yolo County Fair because
Yeah,
there
we're
are
looking-
not enough West Sacramento kids
True,
there. And
true.
your stuff is way better.
Well, thank you very
No
much.
bias, no
I
bias.
appreciate
No,
it.
no.
I
I'm not a
appreciate
judge.
that. Thank you.
Thank
Good night.
Thank you. So we're back to AB 1200 disclosures, and can I entertain a motion?
So moved?
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. That's 5 ayes and no nos. Number 2, approve Common Core expenditure plan. Support Common Core towards college and career pathways.
I'll make it, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. That number 3, approve a tentative agreement between Washington Teachers Association and Washington Unified School District. Any discussion or comment? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. That's 5 ayes and no nos. And that brings us to consent.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent item agenda.
And I will second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. There's 5 ayes and no nos for consent. Future agenda items, any that reflect the priorities, strategic priorities of our school district, I'd entertain. None, hearing none. We do have a couple coming up, the CIP presentation in the next meeting, and attention to attendance, the plan that we put in place. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say no, and we are adjourned. Thank you very much.